articles which is submitted to the universities. So you don't have
That's
to
awesome.
be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or anybody to discuss on any topic.
Sounds awesome. Yeah. Let's go on.
Okay,
So
so
what's today's thing?
yeah, so today I want to discuss about Ayodhya in Nepal.
Oh, wow. That's something
I
huge. Yeah, I saw in the news, GRT, I saw in the news, Nepali PM has commented something like that, right? If you could throw some light on what exactly he meant by saying that.
so what the Nepali PM is saying that so there is this Valmiki ashram in Nepal.
Uh-huh. I see.
Because the Valmiki ashram is in Nepal, Ayodhya should be nearby the Valmiki ashram.
That's interesting.
So let's look at where is this Valmiki ashram and where is the proposed site of Ayodhya.
Okay. I'm trying to think what made him assume that after so many years. I mean, India and Nepal have been very friendly nations, and
Yes.
suddenly he is coming out something uh, out of the blue.
Yeah. So if you are going to look into the so this is the map of
Okay.
the proposed uh, Ayodhya, which is on the west of Birgunj. This is called
Uh-huh.
as Tori. This location is called Tori.
Uh-huh.
This is he says this should be the place where Ayodhya is really is.
Okay, just out of curiosity, GRT, how far away is Indian Ayodhya from this story?
So let's look at the Indian Ayodhya for the story. If you look at this Indian Ayodhya, if you look at the distance between the Tori and the
Mm-hmm.
Valmiki ashram, you see it's actually
Mm-hmm.
nearby. You have to go around the
Hmm.
mountains. That is why the distance shows like a V. But if you
Mm-hmm.
have to look at Ayodhya, that is on the Indian side, if you
Right.
see that that really takes like 374 kilometers walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
And we
it
should
takes.
also consider, GRT, we should also consider that in the time of Ramayana, the geography that we are looking at currently would be different because the landmass has moved over the period of time. So
Mhm, mhm.
probably these places would have been more closer than where they are today. That makes sense,
Actually,
right?
if you actually see that the landmass has moved, yes, true, but it has moved closer.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if you
Okay.
see the Indian plate is actually
Mm-hmm.
hitting against the Chinese plate.
Right, right. So
That
yeah,
is
that's
why
the
the
reason they
Himalayas are
say
formed. So those two plates are
abso-
hitting together, the
absolutely.
Himalayas are formed. So what happens? The distance between this point and this point is
Mm-hmm.
actually, which is far off,
Okay.
is actually getting closer when they're hitting off. So it is going to get
That's
closer, closer,
interesting.
closer, but it is also getting far off because
Hmm.
there is a mountain in between X and Y location.
So in the time of Treta Yuga, when the Ramayana had actually occurred,
Mhm.
these two places would have been further away than where they are today.
Yes, yes. So that
Okay.
again gives credibility to
Mm-hmm.
PM Oli's idea that Ayodhya should actually be in Tori.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now
Okay.
what they are doing is the archaeological department. They are given a green light to start excavating in Tori
I see.
to see if
Mm.
there is any proof that Ayodhya
Mm-hmm.
was there in Tori in the first place.
Mm. To to think about that, so what I read from the news about the repercussions to PM Oli on his comments, I don't see it is having credibility within his supporters themselves. Even in Nepal, I don't see scholars backing PM Oli up on this issue. In fact, they are letting him down, saying that his opinion is not true. In
Yeah,
fact,
yeah, yeah.
they are not encouraging him to go ahead with the excavation because it's going to be futile. They are not going to come up with anything. That's what most of the scholars and experts in Nepal are suggesting.
Yeah, it could be true. It could also be false. We are
Hmm.
not the scholars here, but the thing is that we just have to take a neutral stance on this. So
Hmm.
so if it is false, right? Then we don't
Mm-hmm.
have a discussion, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what if it was true? So that is when
Mm.
there is a 50% chance probability that we have
I
to
see.
look at what if it was true. Yes, it is a false. There's a 50% chance, and we could agree on it because a lot of people have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say the reason why I use the word opinion is because until you find a fact, it
Mm-hmm.
is still an opinion.
Right, right.
So that is why they call that an expert opinion. They don't call it an expert fact.
Right, right. And like you rightly said, we are not any scholars um, to confirm anything on this, but just to think about it, GRT, I have got the opportunity to read in depth, deep dive into many of our mythological stories. All right.
Okay.
So, what I see is most of our mythological stories will have direct references to places. It might be in Sanskrit or Tamil or any other ancient languages. Okay. But I don't see Thori or any place in Nepal having any references in our mythological stories, which is strange because there have been places, towns, and villages across India, right from Kanyakumari to Jammu, which have got mentions in many of our mythological stories.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hope
yeah.
you would agree to that point of
Yes,
mine,
yes,
right?
yes. I do
So,
completely
so
agree with
I
you.
find it strange. I find it strange that until maybe last week, Thori or many of the uh, uh, places that are being mentioned in this current issue have got any references in our scriptures. Of course, like you said, I'm no scholar. I have got no academic background to this, but this is my, as a layman, as a common man, this is my opinion. Any uh, take on that from you?
The thing is that if I have to look into the word as India, right?
Mm-hmm.
The word
Mm-hmm.
India was not used as India a few years before.
Yeah.
It had the
Right.
word Hindustan. It also had the word as Bharat.
Absolutely.
Before that, it had a kingdom, and then each kingdom had their own names.
Right.
So the same would apply to any country. If I have to look into Europe, where Germany or Poland or West Germany or East Germany or USSR or Russia or
Mm-hmm.
Moldova or Ukraine, so all these places did not
Mm-hmm.
have a set boundary and did
Yes.
not have this definition that this is what it is. So
Okay.
what
Yeah.
we looked into the word as Hindustan is where the Indus mountain is, Indus Valley is there. From
Mm-hmm.
that location on the north, and then you had the Himalayas on the east, and between this
Mm-hmm.
location, anything to the south was called as a
Yes.
Hindustan. So the word India did not feature in the word Hindustan.
Right. Yeah.
So
To
yeah,
add on to that quickly, it is basically the Sindhu River. Sindhu River got an anglicized name called Indus.
yes, Indus, yes,
So yeah, and then the name was coined. Those people living around Sindhu River or Indus River, they were called as Hindus.
yes, yes, true, 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 true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now let's look into the next thing, which I really want to. I want to show you the next video. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you look into the distance between the Tori and Valmiki, it only takes about 20 hours and 10 minutes
By what mode of transport?
by walking.
By walk. Okay.
So if they were using horses, maybe that time transportation time would be reduced by
Hmm.
50% of the time. So that means
Yeah.
I'm looking at around 8 to 9 hours or 10 hours.
Hmm.
So what I wanted to really look into this Valmiki ashram. This is a location called as a Valmiki Tiger Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
This is in Nepal. So I want to look
Okay.
into the. So probably no news media is actually covering this. Let's look into what is this Valmiki ashram. So if you see this location, this is the Valmiki ashram.
Oh wow.
So I have covered out the places or the faces so that I don't want the attention to be
Mm-hmm.
drawn to those person on the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the Valmiki ashram. I'll show you another picture. So this is people walking to the Valmiki ashram. This is definitely in Nepal. So you
Mm-hmm.
can see the word Nepal there.
Okay.
Yeah. So can you read what is this?
Uh, that's
It's called
difficult.
Amrit.
Uh-huh.
It's called Amrit. So probably they are actually referring to the lake, or sorry, the well.
Okay.
So the well where
Yeah.
they take the water, they call it the Amrita. Amrita is actually the nectar. When you drink it,
Yeah.
you get the long life.
Okay.
So let's look into the next
Hmm.
picture here. Okay. So this is where I can. I'm trying to read this thing. This place is where I'm trying to pillar where and Love and Kush tied the horse.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pillar. It's not the right spelling of the pillar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is the pillar where Love and Kush. So we know who is Love and Kush here when they measure the Love and Kush. Love and Kush is the son, both the son of Sita,
Yeah. They had a twin son,
twin son.
twin child. Yeah.
So so the according to the scriptures, what we see is that
Mm.
Love and Kush was born in Valmiki ashram.
Hmm.
They were delivered by Sita. So, why do you think that Sita actually went to Valmiki ashram to deliver the kids? Why can't she had delivered the kids in Ayodhya itself?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. And as far as I know, there is a whole story behind that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
what happened? What happened when uh, Sita? I mean, after Sri Ram rescued Sita from the grip of Ravana in Sri Lanka. So once they returned, there was a washerman in Ayodhya
Hmm.
who
Hmm.
was, in fact, beating his wife.
Okay,
And in the
okay,
process of beating her, he had exclaimed something like, I'm not Ram to have a wife like this who has been living with another man for so many years." So
okay, okay,
this unfortunate comment had reached the ears of Sri Ram and Sita.
okay,
So after hearing this, Sita was very disappointed and dejected, and she decided to live alone at a faraway place.
okay. So
So at
the
that,
problem
yeah,
was
at
the
that time,
washerman.
washerman's words, because during those times, those ages, Tetra Yuga, so those days where the words were very powerful, those were
Hmm. Hmm.
very valuable. People will not unnecessarily speak out of rage or anything. So the blessings, curses, anything that you exclaim will be taken very seriously.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this statement by the washerman became very heavy for Sita, Sita Devi. So she walked away to a faraway place,
Hmm.
which probably could be the Valmiki ashram. So at that
Okay.
time, she was already pregnant with Lava and Kusha,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Valmiki, Sage Valmiki, after coming to know that she is a pregnant woman, provided her with shelter, and this is where she gave birth to Lava and Kusha.
Can I
And
also
yeah,
look into the concept
yes,
like why? I mean, there is also the story behind that. Actually, Sita had a curse from a parrot.
hmm, wow, yeah, that's a superb question, GRT. Yeah,
Hmm.
so this we have to bring in the concepts of karma and curses here. So long back, when Sita was alone in her house or palace, I'm not sure. So there were a couple of parrots, divine parrots to be specific. So that had come to visit her place. What Sita Devi had done, she held on to the female parrot. Probably she was more beautiful. However, she allowed the male parrot to fly away.
Hmm. Hmm.
This male parrot could not uh, take in the separation from her
Hmm.
female
Hmm.
companion. So, out of agony, mental trauma, the male parrot cursed Sita Devi, saying she will also suffer the same fate of having to separate from her uh, from her spouse when she was pregnant. So,
Mm-hmm.
so this curse, like I said, any blessing and curse during those yugas
Mm-hmm.
will bear fruit, unlike the current Kali Yuga. So
Okay, okay,
the curse of the parrot, in fact, bore fruit in the way Sita having to leave Rama when she was pregnant, and that's how she turned up at Valmiki's ashram.
okay. Understand that. So
Yeah.
now let's look into this. Actually, whatever you told me as a story that Lava and
Mm-hmm.
Kusha was born in the Valmiki ashram and Sita Devi was there in the Valmiki ashram.
Yes.
So this Valmiki ashram that is in Nepal has all those things that you actually mentioned just now, which could also
Hmm.
show that probably this mythology is
Mhm.
actually true.
Wow. Okay.
So, so
That's
this is actually surprising. When we call the
Mm.
mythology, now I'm thinking probably we should call it a history.
That's rightly said. Yeah.
Just because it's been said by Valmiki, it's called as mythology. It was said by
Mm.
the English historians, it will be called as history.
Correct.
So this is the temple of Sita
Uh-huh.
Devi that is in Valmiki ashram.
Hmm.
Okay,
That's interesting.
I want to show you the next picture. If you look at this thing, this says that this is the place of keeping pail, vessel for carrying water of goddess Sita.
Oh,
So this is
these
actually
are
an archaeological site, but they are using it as a temple for deities.
these are very nice pictures. Wow.
This actually tells a story to us. This is
Hmm.
definitely an archaeological finding, and it is not made up to invite tourists to come
Hmm.
here. So let's look into the next picture.
Mm-hmm.
This picture, let's look into this. This is the same thing. I told you about the place where they used to tie the horses.
Hmm.
So this is, yeah, it makes sense. It looks like a thing that you can tie horse with. I think I don't have any other pictures then.
So I have a question here, GRT,
Yeah.
just out
Yes.
of my own curiosity. So Hindus, right? Hindus in India are known for pilgrimages. So
Yeah.
Hindus go to places that have got any reference to Ramayana and Mahabharata, right? Be
Yeah.
it be it the Ram Setu in Rameshwaram, or spread across. The southern Kasi, okay, and a lot of temples in Kanchipuram like Kailas, another temple, and there are even places where they say even Mahabalipuram, where the Pandavas had performed meditation, right? So, uh, my question is, if these pictures are mythologically so significant, and Nepal has got the real uh, ashram where Sita Devi was sheltered,
Yeah. Yeah.
and India and Nepal being very friendly nations for most part of history, right? I
Yes.
think
Yes.
Indians don't need visa, or the travel arrangements between the two countries is very liberal, right? To
Yes.
visit.
Yes.
Why is that Hindus have not uh, celebrated this place, have not frequented this place as a pilgrimage, as a spot of reverence for Sita Devi? Why is that
I,
this play? Yeah.
mhm. Actually, Andy, this is a very good question that I really want to ask the audience here. Anybody
Hmm.
who's looking at the video, yeah, you need to think about these are some things which is not told to us. There's no books,
Hmm.
no history books or geography books teaching us
Hmm.
that this is here. So we know about the occupation or the conquest of Lord Mountbatten or Vincent
Hmm.
Roy, but we don't have this is in our history books, this in our geography books, in anywhere a reference in a textbooks, nor this is being talked among our people. None of our parents or aunties or uncles are actually talking about this.
That's true. Yeah.
probably people do not know there is a such place exists in the first place.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the only reason you and me are actually discussing about this place is because of PM Oli's comment that
Hmm.
Ayodhya is there in Nepal.
Yeah,
If at all he did not say this, we would not know this thing, we would not gone this thing, we would not taken this effort to bring this information to the people.
very true. Yeah.
So I actually wanted to show you this well. Okay, this well, it says that elixir is a magical
Hmm.
potion to make people live forever well. So
Hmm.
elixir was actually a true thing. The people did have elixir, or people just use the word elixir here. But so yeah, again, this is a belief that there was a thing called elixir. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Let's look into the next
Hmm.
one. This is the place. This is the slab of stone for grinding spices of goddess Sita.
Wow.
So if you look at the stone, it's actually in my grandmother used to have this stone, and what she would use is that she would use a turmeric and she will grind it with that. I do not know
Mhm.
whether you had that experience of seeing your grandmother do it.
Yeah, I think most of us who have had the chance to live in villages at any point in our life would have got this chance to, in fact, consume food from stones, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Grind in stone. Yeah.
Yeah, I also see that like people we have this thing called chutney where we make with coconuts. Coconuts.
Hmm.
So people, what they call it as, people in South India, they call it a tovayal. Tovayal is something where they will put it. It's very thick, very different from chutney,
Mm.
which is very very thinner. So they have
Mm.
this coconut pieces, and they put some spices and includes chili into it, and then they smash it. It comes as a thick paste,
Mm.
and this is the thing they used to smash that particular paste.
Mm. Yeah, until the mixie came along, these stones had their days. I don't know if there are any place, any villages that remains without the mixie that still uses these kind of stones to make
Yes, true,
chutneys and
true, true,
togayals.
true, true. This again, the one thing that I really want to point out here is that this again showcases the way that the people mixed spices at those times. People had this big slab and they were using this, and still it's been practiced. Still in certain villages, it's still been practiced of making
Hmm.
kind of like a chutney or any kind
Wow.
of or mixing spices. People don't have to use the grinder.
Wow.
Yeah. I also
Okay.
want to show you this. This is the birthplace of love and kush.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to the next place. Next thing, a pond where massive fire ceremony held by 88,000 priests led by Rishi Valmiki.
Wow. That will be like the real time Bahubali.
So 88,000 pieces, 88,000 priests. I'm
Okay.
just imagining how big is that going to be.
Unimaginable actually.
Yeah, if it's going to be 100 people in a room, that is going to be like crowded. You don't have like 100 people in
Hmm.
a house or 100
Yeah.
people in a ground. Like, let's imagine a
Hmm.
cricket ground, 88,000 people in a cricket ground. That is really huge.
Hmm.
88,000. Like,
Yes.
I do not know how big is the cricket ground in Kolkata,
I
Eden
think
Garden.
maximum it will be 50 to 55,000.
Yeah, so it is bigger than. So this place
Hmm.
was actually bigger than the Eden Garden, a
Oh my
cricket ground
God.
in Kolkata, where 88,000 priests came there to have this yaga. So
Hmm.
where they build this big fire, and the people chant mantras and throw things into the fire to
Hmm.
do something. They have this belief and they get some results out of it.
Wow.
So anyway, this is the last picture I have about Valmiki Ashram. And this after this with this we will not speak about Valmiki Ashram. With this, like, we will just have some open questions. Probably we have answers, probably we don't have answers. So what do you think happened to Love and Kush after they were born in Valmiki ashram.
Hmm. Okay. I think we should leave that question open for the viewers.
Mhm.
However, I don't know what happened to Sita Devi after she left Valmiki Ashram.
Okay, okay. So I had read some information on Google. What they say that the Bhuma Devi or the earth
Yeah.
consumed Sita Devi.
Yeah. So that was more of a voluntary act because Sita Devi was very disappointed and dejected that her life, most part of her life was either in captivation or I mean, captivity or I mean, she had to end up being questioned on her morals and character. She became very disappointed with the world, and she wanted Bhuma Devi, which was her mother, to take her back, so that she doesn't have to live with this unkind world and suffer the cruelty. So her mother, Bhuma Devi, accepted her request and split open and took her back.
Okay, 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 understandable. So we also have this thing that the whole concept about this Ayodhya might be a Tory is because of the distance,
Hmm.
right? So we also have heard about the same story which says that Ravana actually took Sita Devi from this place to Ashokavana on an aeroplane.
Yeah, Pushpaka Vimana, right?
Yeah, Pushpaka Vimanam. So you see this aeroplane. So that should be the only logical conclusion because the aeroplane is much faster than going by land.
Hmm. Obviously.
So I mean, we both agree if we have to go on a flight from Nepal to Mumbai or a train from Nepal to Mumbai, so going by
Hmm.
train is definitely not possible.
Yeah, and considering the terrain, which is more of mountainous ranges, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Because it's closer to Himalayas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what I would also think is that yes, from the looks of it, yeah, possibly Ayodhya was here or Ayodhya was there. It's open for discussion. But
Hmm.
the one thing that we really did found out is there is a place called Valmiki Nagar, which has a lot of historical significance and mythological significance, and also significance related to what should I say, Hinduism and belief system, and also the ways that the things are being practiced. But people are not going to pilgrimage to that location.
Absolutely. Like you said, maybe unless and until PM Oli, Nepal PM Oli came along and opened up something like this, you and me, or many of us wouldn't have even had made the effort to go online and find things out on our own, right? So
Yes,
this is something that's very interesting that has cropped up.
yes, 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 yes. So the place that he says is actually the Birgunj. It's here. Is on the right hand
Hmm.
side, and Tori is there.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I just want to have like one more question before we end this call. So how do you think that Ramayana is relevant to our life, present life? Do you think any relevance to this Ramayana and present life?
Hmm. So I would say more than the story of Rama and Sita, it is the values, the morals, the ethics we need to learn, and we have to modify them in such a way that it is suitable for the modern civilization that we are in, because there is a huge difference between the value systems that were there at that point in time and the value systems that are currently being upheld by us, right? So I would say we cannot, like, the template of Ramayana and Mahabharata cannot be applied directly on the current civilization, but at the same time we cannot just ignore them. That's what I learned from our mythologies. And if I can ask you one more question, GRT,
Yes, yes. Go on, go on, go on.
if you are given a choice where we have to pick one, A, is it about visiting the Ashok Vatika or the Ashok Vana, wherein Ravana had kept Sita in captivity, or B, the Valmiki ashram in Nepal? Which one would you pick?
So I have not seen the Ashokavatas, the places in
Mhm.
Ashokavata, for
Mhm.
example, the
Mhm.
things that is. But if I'm saying the Valmiki ashram, I see a lot of
Yeah,
things which I can actually relate to the story.
interesting. Okay.
If
So
that,
I
yeah. So
please
so
go
so
ahead.
th- that is one reason I would actually pick this Valmiki ashram in Nepal.
Okay, so you would pick Valmiki Ashram over Ashok Vatika in Sri Lanka because that's a huge transition because Ashok Vatika is a known popular pilgrimage currently. Now, uh, maybe credits to Nepal PM Oli, there is a new pilgrimage place that has cropped up on the map.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's end this call, and it's really
Mhm.
nice talking to you. Let's keep these new
Amazing.
ideas going up. So anybody who wants to have a similar discussion, wants to have a similar question, please leave the comments, or please you can send an email to us. You read the comments, and then we will see how we can catch up with you over an email and have similar discussions in the future. And please do subscribe to the channel. Anything else from your side, Andy?
I would request all the viewers to like our channel and subscribe to it and ask a lot of questions so that we can research and get back to them with nice
Okay,
answers and interesting facts.
okay. Thanks a lot, Andy. Thanks a lot, viewers. See
Thank
you
you so
then.
much. You have a good day. Bye.
Same to you. Bye.